Hello, or I should say Ola, that is Spanish for hello. The word has also become a synonym for affordable taxi rides in India. Bhavish Aggarwal founded Ola in 2010, a couple of years after graduating from IIT Bombay. Today, the Ludhiana lad is one of the youngest billionaires of the country and a poster boy for India's successful startup ecosystem. So, what started off as a call taxi company, Ola today is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And not many people are aware that Ola is not just a car company, but also the fourth largest electric vehicle company in the world outside China. More recently, it expanded into artificial intelligence. Krutrim, which is Sanskrit for artificial, was launched in December 2023. It already has a functional chat GPT. And Krutrim now plans to design AI chips and build cloud platform. Bhavish is with us today to talk about his company's past, present and future. We will also ask him about his views on Indian EV and ride-hailing market. Bhavish, welcome to our show at 4 Parliament Street.
Vijay sir, thank you so much for having me. It's a very unique setting for me. I'm very excited about this conversation and look forward to it.
And we are also very curious about you and your journey, your professional journey. You started off from IIT.
Yes.
You did not qualify for IIT. You went to Kota. It doesn't say a lot about Kota's education because you didn't qualify. But then you went back home to Ludhiana. You studied hard, and then you ranked 23 in India. And then you went to IIT Bombay, did computer science, and then worked for Microsoft for a couple of years.
Worked at Microsoft. Yeah.
And then suddenly you got this idea कि चलो एक Ola बनाते हैं.
Well, life was. On hindsight, it looks very interesting. But like you said, sir, I grew up in Ludhiana to doctor parents. So I was not from a business family. But my parents were all, like all middle class parents, they want to focus the kid on studies. So they made sure that I was focused on studies. I was a little bit of a rebel since childhood. So they packed me off to Kota. Kota was this up and coming place then that for IIT coaching, you go to Kota. And I think the place is great, but I was first time out of home, so I had a lot of fun in Kota. 2 years, I didn't get through IIT then. Then I came back to Ludhiana, locked myself in a room, studied hard. And, I think a lot of basic foundational life lessons I learned in that process. When you put your mind to something, you can do it. And getting 23rd rank was a good achievement. Then I came to IIT Bombay. And IIT Bombay was another new world completely because for a small town boy from Ludhiana to go to Bombay, get exposed to such a world of ideas and best of best peers from around the country. Yeah, so that was a very exciting phase of education. And then when I started working, I had a choice: should I go into further studies, PhD, etc. And my DNA is a very technology DNA. So I was quite I was very keenly considering a career in technology in a PhD track. So maybe being a professor somewhere. So thankfully that didn't happen. So I worked for Microsoft for 2 years here in Bangalore. And then after that, I felt that, Hindi mein kehte hain, andar se awaaz thi ke I can contribute something to this growing journey of India. In 2010 or so, that's when India's story was just starting to get exciting. And I was a young kid, 24-year-old, I had nothing to lose. I was not married, my parents were well settled. So I said, let me give it a shot. And then I started Ola Cabs in 2010. And it's been quite an interesting ride, pun intended.
So the Ola is similar to Uber. Uber already existed in the US and Western world. But there was a difference between what you created in India. How was that different?
So Uber's journey started, I think, in 2009 in the US. So in 2010, when I started, Uber was still a very early concept in the US. And they were not there here in India. In India, they came in 2013. We had already by then spent 3 years in the Indian market. So when we started off, we looked at Uber and we were quite inspired by what they were doing using phones, apps and all. But we didn't start with an app. We started with a call center, and the call center was me because it was a bootstrapped startup. So, but the only difference, those days we used to have these radio taxis, Meru and all of these. The difference between my model and those were I didn't own the cars. It was an aggregated fleet, but a call center and a website. The app came much later. So it started like that, and it started with out-of-city rides going from here to Agra or from Mumbai to Pune. And then slowly we added within the city, and the business organically grew from there. And then around the time when Uber entered India, we started to really deploy technology. That's the time when, if you remember, pre-4G, but 3G had taken off, and mobile phones, smartphones were becoming more prevalent. And to run a service like Ola or Uber now, today we take it for granted, but 10 years ago, GPS was not a granted thing, or a GPS phone and tracking things on, it was not a given. So that was high tech back then, and that's how we started deploying technology, and then we took that whole ride-sharing model much deeper into India. We customized it for Indian realities in a much deeper way. For example, in those days, one would think that taxis will only be relevant for 5-7 cities in India. Then we took it to 200 cities. Then one would have thought auto rickshaws will be replaced by taxis. We took it into auto rickshaws. Then we took it into two-wheelers and beyond. So we did a lot of localizations to this whole ride-sharing model, which allowed us to be in the lead all the time.